Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Cinema Heroes. I'm Justin Speck.
Me, Stu.
I'm Alex Thomas.
And today we're talking about Batman vs. Robin. Released in, I should always look this up, 2015. Directed by Jay Oliva. Written by J.M. DeMatteis. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's okay. And starring Jason O'Mara, Stuart Allen, Jeremy Sisto, Gray Griffin, and a small cameo, kind of from Kevin Conroy.
He plays Thomas Wayne. I seen that on the cast. Like, oh wow! I didn't.
Yeah, I saw it on the cast too, and I thought, oh, that's cool. And then as soon as he started talking, I was like, I wouldn't have even had to see his name. I would have recognized that voice immediately.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the next DC 52, New 52 animated movie that had come out, and so this takes place after Throne of Atlantis, and Damian Wayne is now full on Robin and causing a headache for Bruce right out of the gate. But what did you guys think? Had you guys seen this one before?
Yeah, I've seen it several times before. I think I'm in the minority on this one because although I recognize its problems, I really enjoyed this movie. I
agree.
I enjoy it more than Son of Batman.
I agree.
It's and I know that might be a hot take, but Damian is somehow worse in this movie, and I don't mean like the way he's written. He's written very well,
right?
But like his character, yeah, like he's somehow he got worse from the first movie, and it's not the best adaptation because it was based on Court of Owls, which is one of the greatest Batman stories ever written. But as a movie on its own, I really like it.
Yeah, I agree, and I definitely agree that it's better than Son of Batman. And I think, even though I do find Damian super annoying, which is, I guess, kind of the point of the movie.
That's the point.
I think Jeremy Sisto as Talon did a really good job, and he's just. I don't think Talon is a better character than Deathstroke, but Jeremy Sisto did a better job than Thomas Gibson in Son of Batman. So yeah, this movie was actually a good amount of fun, and I knew it was based on Court of Owls, but I also Damian's not in that story in Court of Owls, is he? Right. So they kind of mix like two stories together, kind of.
Yeah.
But it worked. I think you're right. As a movie, I think this actually they did a pretty good job with it.
The best thing about the movie to me isn't even the Court of Owls stuff. It's Talon. I like Talon, but like the whole Court of Owls storyline to me is the B plot. The A plot is the relationship between
Damian
and Bruce Wayne. But my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was saying when I first saw it, I recently saw it when me and John were going through the series together. I've never seen this movie up until that point because I bought it on Blu-ray, and I was like, okay, now I'm trying to buy these DCAU movies. Let's finally, pop it on. And I was pleasantly surprised with the movie. I think the relationship between Bruce and Damian, it really works. I like Damian more in this movie than I do in Son of Batman. I'm probably in the minority with that too. Because we know that he's not a very favorite character for most people, but I really enjoyed his character. You see the struggles that he's going through with, not knowing who he is. And he says it in the movie. It was like, everyone is in my head, but who am I at the end of the day? And that's, that's a lot for a little kid to go through it. He's probably 10 or 11 years old. And Bruce Wayne said the same thing. He was like, he looks like he's 10 years old, but right. He's not 10. But yeah.
And I like that line was in there because that's my biggest issue, I think, with Damian Wayne is he seems almost kind of too OP, which is something I talked about in Son of Batman. It's just that like he's super smart, and he also when he's fighting Nightwing, he actually wins that fight, which just seems unbelievable to me.
I love that fight.
And so that's my kind of my biggest issue with him. But the fact that they included that line, he's like, he may look 10, but he's not 10. I was like, okay, that I kind of like that they're at least acknowledging that he's, even though he is a little kid, he's way better,
way beyond where he should be.
Yeah, like way further along. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, look at his lineage.
Yeah,
like
just
I know.
He was raised
Batman alone, like he just got that in him. You know what I'm saying? Like them Waynes are not to be trifled with, bro.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I love that line too. He says it when he's fighting Nightwing. He's like, "Yeah, you're just an orphan that he took in, but I'm his son." Like,
yeah, I'm blood. Yeah.
I'm blood, right?
Yeah, and then he was raised by the deadliest assassins in the world. Yeah, Ra's al Ghul and Talia al Ghul. So I mean, it makes sense why he's OP.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but
he might have the worst personality out of all the Robins, but it's like as far as like a hand-to-hand combatant, he definitely get Jason Todd a run for his money. But as far as a hand-to-hand combatant, like the best like fighter out of all of them, like it's Dave.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's just hard. I think it's just hard for me to seriously think that a 10-year-old, no matter because think of how much time Nightwing has had more in terms of experience. This kid's only been alive for 10 years.
Right.
And even if he started training at 1 year old or whatever, Nightwing still has more time and everything.
Training at 1 year.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, but he's still only 10. But I understand. I totally get it, and it's fine. It works in the movie and everything. It's just it always kind of just bugs me when Nightwing loses the fight. I'm like, really?
The fact that you are a fan of you a comic book nerd just like the rest of us. And that's what you have.
I know. That's what I get hung up on. I know exactly. I'm okay with aliens and,
okay with aliens,
the Court of Owls and
lightning bolts hitting kids and they instantly grow up 20 years.
Right. Yeah. I'm okay with all that.
The Talons freezing
being good at karate. That's where I draw the line.
Right.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now. Bruce is showing Samantha the little layout of Gotham.
Virtual
Gotham.
Yeah, that was actually taken right out of the Court of Owls comic. Actually, in the comic, that scene is supposed to be a dinner party.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's showing a lot of people the plans for the city or something.
Yeah, in this one they made it a secret when in the source material it's actually like a public plan that he wants to do.
That's cool.
Yeah, I thought the Court of Owls stuff was okay. I'm not a huge fan of it, as much people are. Like I said, it does feel like a B plot in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the twist with Samantha being the the Grandmaster and stuff. Yeah. It's funny, the voice of the Grandmaster that she uses, it's the actor, he plays the Riddler in the Batman Evil Within video game.
Oh, really?
Game.
I did not know that.
I listened to him, like, I know that voice, so I had to Google it, and then he plays the Riddler. Like, oh, no wonder I knew his voice.
Nice.
That is cool.
The Court of Owls, in the comic, it's one of my favorites. Like I said, I think it's one of the greatest of all time because it just shows Batman from a very vulnerable state. Like all the backstory stuff that we get, is in there, and it shows that the Court of Owls was actually like his first case that he started investigating as a kid because of the death of his parents, and I just thought that was interesting, and it really showed where his detective skills came from, and I just wish a little bit more of that was in the movie.
Yeah,
just showing a little bit more of Batman before he was Batman, but after the death of his parents. I always think that version of Bruce Wayne is very interesting to me, and I felt that they could have done a little bit more with it, but I understand why they didn't. They wanted to put a light on Damian, and like I said, it may not be a very good adaptation, but as a film on its own, and then placing emphasis on Damian's character, and the way he's written and his his conflict with how he was raised and his morals, and then with Batman's morals, and wrestling with his instinctual nature and having respect for his father. I just think that they handled that very well.
Oh yeah.
And I like the parallels too between Damian and Talon, which is why Talon kind of becomes so fixated on him and thinking that essentially he can kind of become the new Talon. I like that aspect of it too, and I do kind of wish the Court of Owls could have their own movie, because I do think there's more to it, like you said, and they could have gone deeper with it. It always makes me think of, and I haven't actually seen this movie, so it's just from the imagery I have seen. But whenever I see the Court of Owls, especially in this movie, it always makes me think of Eyes Wide Shut, with everybody wearing those masks and everything, you know?
Man, I just watched that for the first time last year.
Yeah.
That's a movie.
For sure.
I'll just say that.
For sure.
That is a movie.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, it's on my list of movies to watch because of Stanley Kubrick, but I've heard mixed things about it.
It's good.
So, yeah.
But I'll never watch it again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a one-time watch. It's a one-time
It's a one-time watch. It's a one-time watch.
Okay. But yeah, but I like I do like the dynamic between Damian and Bruce in this movie, and I think Stuart Allen plays Damian very well. It's just he's a bit of a brat, you know, and so it's just just kind of is annoying, I guess is the best way to say it.
I think that's the point, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm on the scene right now. He's trying to escape, and Bruce obviously updated the security, and it's just he's like, "You're gonna try to keep me prisoner in my own house?" It's like, well, you're a kid at the end of the day. Like, you got to think about that too, regardless of all the stuff that you've been through. You're a kid at the end of the day. But I love he points out yeah, but I'm a kid, but you got me out here fighting the criminals and stuff. Like, what's the guidelines though? Like,
right.
So yeah, I do like the dynamic, and like I said, it just makes me want more. It makes me want more of this, from this in real life, live action. I would love to see this dynamic in live action. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah,
well, you're in luck. Yeah.
We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna save that for another episode, though. No. But we're gonna talk about it. What do you guys think of the inclusion of or not the inclusion, but the start of this movie? I mean, I think I really like the beginning.
Yeah, you're talking about with the
Dollmaker.
How it opens with Dollmaker.
Oh yeah,
I think it's a fantastic opening, and really shows just in that moment, it shows what the movie is going to be, what what Damian is going to be struggling with for the rest of the movie, and I feel like a lot of the DC movies don't do that. They open with spectacle and not necessarily a character moment. Yeah. I love that this movie opened with a character moment.
A couple character moments. Could you add Damian, dealing with, vengeance? He said, justice, not vengeance. And then, you got Batman not showing that he can trust Damian because he doesn't know whether or not he did what he did,
Right. Talon showing up. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys know that, did you catch that Dollmaker was voiced by Weird Al Yankovic?
No.
I didn't know that. I kept trying to figure out whose voice that was. I didn't look it up, obviously, but
wow.
I'm usually pretty good with voices, but I didn't catch that at all.
That was a weird design, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Andrea Romano, I guess maybe he's, I don't know. She called him up, I guess, said, "You want to be a villain in this movie?" Or maybe he was a fan or something and reached out. Who knows? But yeah, he's Dollmaker in the beginning of the film. Yep.
I just love how graphic these movies are. I really do, and like how brutal they are with the fighting and everything. It's like, man, I love it.
Yeah, this scene, and well, there are three scenes. This scene, the scene where Batman gets the crap beat out
Oh
of him.
yeah, he's literally getting
And
stabbed and sliced.
yeah, like
bro, how did you still standing, bro?
That is like don't get me wrong, Batman is my favorite superhero, but that in the comics is one of my favorite scenes. Just him getting his butt handed to him essentially, and it's a really good scene in the comic, and it's not quite as good in this movie, but it is one of the
It's still
highlights
pretty good,
of this movie. Yeah, but for me, the part where I was turning up, I'm gonna jump a little bit ahead. Is at the end when he and Talon were going 1-on-1. I was like, that's my fight right there.
When he says like all the stuff he said, you broke into my house, and
You
the
broke
worst
into
thing
my
is you
house.
messed with my kid. This is going to hurt, and I'm definitely going to enjoy this. I was like, let's go.
Let's go. I sat up in my seat.
Yeah, I like that too. And one of the things I noticed with that fight scene is, we saw Damian defeat Nightwing in their fight in the Batcave, right? And then when Damian fights Talon is able to get a couple blows in on Damian, I think. So we see, okay, Talon must be really good because we saw Damian defeat Nightwing, and now Talon has beat up Damian. And so when Batman starts fighting Talon and he has those lines and he gets that, he just goes into like beast mode, basically. I don't think Talon, maybe he does get a couple of hits in, but for the most part, Batman is destroying Talon. And so you're like,
I think he got maybe 3 hits in.
Yeah. So that, I love that scene was fantastic. The scene I'm on is,
I might have to count the hits when the scene comes up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, maybe. I just finished the scene where Batman just got the crap beat out of him. So he's like, he just activated like the beacon on his utility belt so that Alfred or somebody could come and get him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just before that scene. I'm at the flashback sequence with the GOAT, Kevin Conroy.
Nice.
Yeah, where he's tucking him in the bed.
Yeah, tell him about the court.
I'm on that scene right now, and shout out to them for getting Kevin Conroy to play Thomas Wayne, because clearly he couldn't be Batman, so
right,
this makes sense for him to be Thomas Wayne.
It's nice that
they played Thomas Wayne before.
Him. Did he?
On Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, he just did like
he
right.
played his father. Yeah.
I think the scene, I know we're jumping ahead, but the scene where he gets kind of recruited by them, I think that scene is awesome too. Where he's in the car chase or whatever,
Yeah, that was a really good scene. I really did like that car chase scene.
It's funny too because he's on the phone with Samantha during that scene, and then he's like, "I'll have to call you back," and then you find out Samantha's the Grand Master.
She orchestrated it.
Yeah, she knew exactly what was going on. Yeah,
right.
It's funny because the last time I watched it, I was like, she has to be a part of it. There's no way, because she doesn't show up again after this movie.
Right.
Okay, yeah, she's tied into some way.
I knew as soon as they showed the Gotham City model again, I was like, oh, she's the Grand Master. Like she's the only other person that saw that other than Bruce. So it's got to be her. How did you guys feel about that twist? It wasn't a twist for me because I figured it out. But how'd you guys feel about it?
I liked it. It felt within the story of this movie, it felt right, so it wasn't like, I wasn't like, when it happened, I wasn't like, what?
Mind blown. Yeah, I wasn't mind blown either,
but it just like, I was like, okay, that makes sense, kind of thing.
I mean, you like I said, they kind of give it away in the scene where you have Talon and her in the bed.
Yeah, that's true. She's
a part
shady,
of it because she's cheating on Bruce, clearly.
Right.
Well, she was using Bruce, just to get him in, but then once we get the reveal that when Damian takes his mask off, she's like, oh shit, like I know who this kid is, so that means that
right
is Batman.
Right.
So yeah.
Now, how'd you guys feel about Talon? Because I really like Talon.
I really like Talon too, and I really like Jeremy Sisto's performance as Talon.
Jeremy Sisto was perfect.
Yeah,
Was
I think
perfect.
he did a great job. And I think Talon is a cool villain.
Mhm.
You know, he does remind me of Deathstroke a little bit, but he's you know, but he's different enough that I think it really works.
Oh yeah.
He's more like Batman. He's more like a
Right.
ninja.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
More of a
Now I
think-
like the scene where Batman is getting shredded.
Yeah. But
And like I said before, I really like that Talon tries to essentially recruit Damian. You know, Damian is again, especially with Ra's al Ghul being his grandfather, and the you know, the philosophy that Ra's al Ghul probably kind of instilled in him. You could see Damian taking Talon and taking his offer and going that way pretty easily.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of them, you know, more, you know, obviously as you kind of know, he's Robin. He's not going to eventually go bad. But if any of the, you know, it's like if any of them were to, I could see how Damian would be attracted to Talon's way of thinking and everything. And so,
that's how he was raised. He was
right,
raised
exactly.
like that.
And so I do like that whole dynamic and how Bruce is, you know, because he's mad at Bruce. Bruce doesn't trust him. Bruce is hard on him and everything. And this Talon guy is like, just kill people. You know, like they deserve it. And so Damian's like, yeah, they do. And so you know, it's cool, I think, to see Bruce trying to win the kid back onto the side of good. I don't know. I just found that
reminded me of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
yeah.
No, you're right. That's an excellent point, and I think that, you know, Batman is being, it's not the first time, but he's being hypocritical. Like you can't be protective of him like that and then send him out pretty much out to his death every night.
Right.
Even though
right.
he can handle himself. At the end of the day, like you said, he's a kid.
Yeah.
This is wrong.
Right.
That's what
like,
the world been trying to tell
Batman, but
us.
this is wrong.
And this is why we have not gotten a live action Robin. Because it's wrong to have a little
Right.
child out doing those type of things.
Very true.
Like, you literally put Robin in bright colors so he could get shot.
Yeah.
That's canon. That's canon. He's like,
I
let
want
me
people to
shoot
you
while I do
Right.
the cool stuff. You can get shot.
Dick Grayson as a little kid's like, I have a problem with that plan.
Like, but I'm 10. Okay,
What's your point?
I got stuff I need to do. Just stand there and be bright.
Yeah, Batman just got his butt beat.
And now I'm at the point where he's sending out the beacon.
Same.
I really like Alfred in this movie too. You know, in Son of Batman, I like how Alfred has kind of grown a little bit to appreciate and like Damian. Because in Son of Batman, he's annoyed by him too. You know, and he's like, I can't remember that joke about how he was hoping the hedges would take him out or something.
Yeah.
You know, when he was fighting the hedges, but in this movie, you know, he's not afraid to necessarily tell Bruce, "Hey, you're not necessarily in the right here."
Yeah.
You know, he
Because he
Damian's kinda
wasn't.
right.
If we being
No,
honest.
yeah. And so I like that. I like that Alfred is, you know, challenging Bruce and his way of thinking and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, like I said, that's probably the best aspect of the movie is the conflict between Bruce and Damian. Like
Sure.
that is what keeps me engaged, because
Yeah, for sure.
you really at some point you kind of believe that Damian is going to go off the deep end and kill someone, even though, you know, in the back of your head it's not going to happen. He like
Right.
that, you know, they wouldn't allow that to happen in a Batman movie, but because of that conflict and Damian's upbringing and the way they weave that into his decision making, you believe it.
Yeah. There's also they show the scene where it's like, when he gets drugged, he's envisioned older Damian, as a ruthless Batman who
Yeah, yeah.
fired, killing everybody.
That was a cool scene.
Yeah.
That was a very cool scene. For some reason it reminded me of Zack Snyder in the Nightmare scene.
Nightmare Batman,
Yeah.
Mixed in with the, Flashpoint Batman.
Yeah, exactly, with the red eyes and everything. Yeah. That was a cool scene, and I wasn't when it first started playing, I wasn't expecting it to be Damian. I thought they were saying something about him, and then I realized that they were, this is the path Damian is going down, and stuff. So yeah, I thought that was a really, really well done scene.
What do you guys think of the Court of Owls and their plan?
What was their plan? That's why I say I feel like it was a side plot, because I felt like it wasn't explained well enough. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they didn't
like
go
just
deep into it. They grazed over. We're gonna create these undead soldiers to take over the city, and they just left it at that.
Yeah,
and most of that story was driven through Talon. Like Talon really carries that storyline, because that's why he's recruiting Damian to be his replacement. He doesn't want to do this anymore.
Right. He wants. Well, does he want to be the Grandmaster? Because he knows that Samantha's the Grandmaster.
He doesn't want.
He wants to be the Grandmaster.
Oh, I didn't think. I thought he didn't want to be a part of it anymore, because he said he doesn't belong. He doesn't feel like he belongs with the Court of Owls. So he wants to be with Samantha, but he doesn't want to be a part of that anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I thought in that scene when we see that Samantha's sleeping with him, that because it seems like he wants to be accepted by the Court of Owls, even though he knows that he's not a part of that group. I thought I remembered him saying something like, "Do you really think they'll let me?" Blah blah blah, but maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, he so to answer your question, Sue, I guess the plan is kind of weak, because the movie doesn't really explain it very well. And if all it is just to raise these people from the dead to wreak havoc on Gotham, just seems like not the greatest plan. It's almost like Deathstroke's plan to have a bunch of man-bats in Son of Batman.
Yeah, and now that we talk about, I think that's one of the weakest parts of these animated Batman movies is the plan of the villains.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of the other things work a lot of the time, but the villains' plans in not BVS, Son of Batman, and this Blood is just they're both subpar, and then the other stuff is what takes the shine.
Yeah, it keeps the story going too. What keeps us intrigued. I love the stuff with Nightwing. I think added Nightwing into this is it really it makes me enjoy the movie a lot more.
Yeah, it adds another kind of layer to it.
We get the scene where all the undead come to the house, and you just got the wraparound shot with Nightwing and Batman. It just looks so dope.
Yeah,
like, man.
And the thing about Nightwing being in this movie is that he can identify with Damian and butting heads with Bruce, because and Bruce is Bruce. He's very stubborn, he's very bullheaded, and like I said earlier, he could be very hypocritical. So if anybody knows, Nightwing knows.
It's either his way or the highway.
Right. That's why he left and became Nightwing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, like Batman said, the difference between Damian and Nightwing is because of
his upbringing.
The upbringing. Nightwing came from a loving home,
family. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he did not. Damian did not experience that with the League of Assassins.
Oh.
Speaking of Nightwing, another scene that I kind of love, or just speaking of the brutality of these animated movies. There's that moment where Nightwing is, they're fighting the Court of Owl. I don't know what you call them, minions, because they're almost like
zombies.
Yeah. But they throw those knives, and one goes through each of his limbs. One goes like each leg and each arm, and he gets pulled back.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, that's rough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a pretty uh violent
Violent
movie, but
movie,
like
yeah.
the action is like it's so fast paced and stylized. Like that's what that's to me that's what keeps me in it. Like the hand to hand combat scenes are the best.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree. Yeah.
Yes. You really feel it, every
Yeah,
block,
yeah,
every hit,
yeah. If sometimes it felt like watching an anime.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it really like the fight scenes really felt well thought out
Choreographed.
and choreographed. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so jumping ahead a little bit because I think we pretty much talked about most. Oh, you know what? Before I get into that, because I was going to go into the third act. What do you think about Talon's backstory?
I like Talon's backstory where he's the it's very again it's the parallel between Damian and Bruce with Talon, how he was raised by a thief
Mm-hmm.
and taught him, kind of taught him his ways, but when he screws up he's getting beat up. And then I like that, Talon murdered his father because he just didn't want to take it anymore and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought his backstory was actually pretty good. I liked it.
I agree.
What about you, Stu?
Yeah,
What did you think of it?
I agree. It was definitely Jeremy Sisto. You already like Talon because of the way Jeremy Sisto plays him, and Talon is just a cool character to begin with. So to add that kind of sympathetic backstory to an already cool character just adds to it.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of the best aspects of the movie. Like the fight scenes and stuff are cool. The chase scene is cool. I even like the third act for the most part, but the best stuff about this movie is the to me the character moments.
Oh yeah, I agree
for sure. And I've already said Jeremy Sisto does such a good job. Jeremy Sisto just has such an interesting voice. He actually played Batman in Justice League: The New Frontier. Which was kind of and I thought that was an interesting choice as well. But yeah, he's really good as Talon, I think.
I was watching this. I'm watching the car chase scene now, and I thought of you, Justin. I know how you don't really care for the cell animation mixed with the traditional 2D. How did you feel about this particular scene?
The car chase actually kind of worked for me. It is kind of, I feel like it can be jarring to see like 3D animated stuff in a 2D animated film, but the car chase scene actually looked pretty good, and I thought about it when that scene happened. I was like, it's understandable. It's probably so much easier to do this scene in a computer than it would be to hand draw. These cars, but even though hand drawing is done in a computer now too, I suppose. But we
know what you mean,
right? So yeah, I mean, I thought it looked good. So it didn't take me out of it. I thought it worked out.
I thought it looked good because I like cell animation most of the time because it's like it's not quite 2D, but it's not quite 3D either. It's like it's
I think
like
that's why
right
it worked,
in the middle. Yeah.
Also,
so
it gives it a more like cinematic feel to it. It looks more cinematic. You can do a lot of more different stuff. Like you probably wouldn't have got the angle like they shot it. With
it's the angles.
You wouldn't have got that if you would have drew it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like all this stuff with Bruce being like not interrogated, but kind of being like recruited to the courthouse and stuff like that. Some of this stuff was just like, I'm ready. Okay, move along. I want to get back to the Damian and Talon stuff.
I agree.
Like I like the scene. Don't get me wrong, but you kind of how it's gonna play out.
Yeah,
and you want to get back to Damian.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the one thing I could say, if you want to jump to the third act, I did not expect Talon to go ham like he does and basically just murder every single person.
Right.
I did not expect that, which kind of made it, made the storyline a little bit better. If that's the way it was going to end, I'm like, oh, I did not expect that at all.
I agree. I liked everything in the third act, but the the robot bat suit.
Yeah, you don't like the robot? I knew it. The Iron Man suit.
Yeah, I didn't like that
Iron
either.
Man.
And
It's
it's
an Iron Man suit. But
it,
you got
it is.
you got Alfred with a shotgun behind him, just cocked and back.
I like Alfred with a shotgun.
Yeah.
I like Alfred with a shotgun too. And I was thinking, Alfred's probably like, where's my suit?
Yeah.
Like, don't be selfish. But yeah, I didn't like the look of the suit. It just seemed cheesy to me.
Yeah, it I don't dislike it. I just dislike it in this movie. It feels so left field. There was no, like
If he had been working on it maybe in the beginning of the film.
You see him working on something in the beginning of the film. When he's in the beginning, after you get an argument with Damian walks down, you see him working on something. But you don't know it's the suit.
It was that. Oh, I never caught that scene. I've seen this movie about 4 times. I never caught that.
Yeah, it's earlier on in the movie, but still, I agree. I do believe that it did come out of left field, but also he's in it and then he's out of it within like 2 minutes.
Right,
so he doesn't really use it.
It's like, what was the point?
What was the point? Right?
Because Talon crashed the Batmobile into him.
The fact that he takes the Batmobile and like drives it into him is hilarious.
I love that actually. I thought that was so good.
He took the time to buckle up because that's not necessarily
right
a regular seatbelt. It's got like 4 straps.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
He took the
it's
time.
Like a jet or something. Yeah.
Safety first. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was
driving off the balcony or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's done worse.
Well, maybe. But I thought, that was something else that I wasn't really expecting. Batman's getting shot from behind and he turns around and it's the Batmobile flying through the air, like shooting at him. I was like, oh, wow. Okay. That's a pretty great plan.
But I like everything in the third act, but the Batman mech suit.
Yeah.
My favorite part in the third act, I already talked about it, but it's the final confrontation between Batman and Talon. I was very, very happy with that scene.
Me too.
Most of this these undead stuff is all this stuff is just could be
almost feels like
forgotten.
Filler.
Yeah. And it shouldn't feel like that because it's a good foundation, but it's like they didn't expand on it.
Yeah.
And I get it. They want to keep these movies relatively short.
Yeah, I must say there's no time.
It felt, you didn't feel the stakes of it. You felt the emotional stakes with the conflict between Talon and Damian and Batman, but the external plot is not there.
Right. Yeah,
I
agree.
It's because it's taken out by Talon. Talon literally like, okay, you know what? He like the scene where they find out that Damian is Robin. They find out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. They want Talon to kill Damian. Talon was like, no, I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna take all you guys out, and me and Damian's gonna do what we do.
Right.
No, it's kind of is filler just to get to the third act.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have worked better maybe if this had been a 2-part movie where the first part was the whole dynamic between Bruce and Damian and Talon trying to recruit Damian, and then rather than Talon dying, maybe it crosses over into a second film where we dive deeper into the Court of Owls and their plan, and then maybe Damian and Bruce at the end try to kind of.
I think that may have worked. I think that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of it, but like the Court of Owls in the first movie, they could be like a looming presence. Like you never really see them. You see glimpses of them,
right?
But then you really get into it in the second movie. They really start investigating. And now that the gears are turning, I'm thinking about the source material, the City of Owls, and how the first movie could really go into that backstory with Bruce Wayne and how he was investigating the Court of Owls, and then that second movie is when he picks back up that investigation.
Yeah.
Because of Talon. So yeah, I think it would have benefited from being split into two parts.
I remember. I don't know if me and you talked about it. We said we'd rather if they do anything with the Batman Part 2, like they should touch on the Court of Owls storyline.
Yeah,
that's what they should do.
That's a perfect storyline for Matt Reeves' universe.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's detective driven, even though it's got some great action scenes in it. It's a detective driven story.
Yeah,
so that would be great. I did want to mention the music. I really like the music for this movie.
The score, the score is really good.
It was the first time that I realized Batman had a theme. In this universe.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, when you see Damian going to the Himalayas, it sounded like the Dark Knight score. It sounded like the Batman Begins. Like, oh, they trying to do Batman Begins? That's what it sounds like.
I thought the same thing. I was like, is this an homage or are they just like ripping it off?
Yeah, because he's going to, the little, it's like he's going to like how in Batman Begins, where he goes going to training.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was the first time I realized that Batman had a theme, and because they play it. I want to say they do it in Son of Batman, and they do it at the beginning of this movie, I think.
Okay.
And then the third time we hear it is when Bruce, like Batman, takes off his mask in the third act, and that's right before he starts wailing on
goes beast mode.
Talon.
Yeah, he goes beast mode on Talon. But you hear you hear the trumpets and the strings going. I was like, oh, okay. I see what you did there.
Oh, the theme.
Hey, that's nice. I like that.
That's awesome. I didn't pick up on that, but that's really cool. I like that a lot. Frederick Weidman did the score for this movie. So
I'm so used to Drake.
Christopher Drake,
Christopher Drake, yeah. But he did a pretty good job.
Jay Oliver basically directs most of these movies.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does a lot of them for sure. And I think
a lot of them have the same feel. Yeah. A lot of them have the
structure too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he does a good job.
Most of them is different though.
Yeah. He does a good job.
Yeah, definitely does.
I like I said, I have no problem with the pacing. Sometimes it feels a little bit long. Like I had to check, like, how long is this movie? Because it does feel like the plot is very plotty. Like it's being stretched out a lot.
For me, it's the Court of Owls stuff. It's just not interesting, and you want to get back to the Damian stuff. That's when it feels long.
Yeah, we got Damian and Talon, breaking into this house, being looking like they're ninjas.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, guys, I'd be curious to hear what your rating for Batman versus Robin would be. Where does it fall in line with the other DC New 52 movies?
I think when I first, I was trying to think of my Letterboxd score because I always go off my Letterboxd score. Mm-hmm. I think when I first got there, I gave it a 3.5, if I'm not mistaken. But I think after this rewatch, I think I bumped it up to a 4. Can't give it a full 5 because of, like I said, the Court of Owls stuff. But everything else, the animation, the direction, score, the relationship between the characters, the voice acting, I think everything is great. I still don't understand why people do not like Damian Wayne, because I really enjoy him as a character, And if you hate him, he's doing his job right, because he is a brat. Right. He is irritating, but like he's just now getting into this world and he's getting to know Bruce/Batman. He was raised by the League of Shadows, so of course he's going to be the way he is. And I meant to say we didn't talk about the fight between Damian and Batman, and I'm on it right now, and it's freaking awesome. And the fact that at the end of the fight, he saves him, when they're falling.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So showing that, we might not like each other, but at the end of the day, I'm your father, you're my son, regardless to how long we've known each other. And I love all that stuff. I really do enjoy it. I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5.
I'm going back and forth. This is hard because I know what I want to give it, but the Court of Owls stuff is holding me back from me giving it that score.
Give it a 3.5. I know you want to do it.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and give it a four out of 5. 4 out of 5 talent, because the way the characters are written, the character dynamics, and just the internal conflict of Damian is done so well.
Oh yeah,
that I think that alone earned it the 4.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with both of you. I was Stu. I was going back and forth between probably the same scores you were, but Alex, and I think I have it at 3.5 right now on Letterboxd as well. But talking about it with you guys made me kind of realize the good stuff in this movie is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And the bad stuff in this movie is not that bad.
Yeah.
It's just not as good as it could be.
It's a little uninteresting.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm going to go 4 as well. I'm going to go 4 out of 5 because the fight scenes are incredible. The character dynamics work really well. It's got a good villain. Talon is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's definitely a solid entry. Better than I remembered it being, honestly. A solid entry in the DCAU.
I agree.
As do I.
Well, we'd love to know what you think about Batman versus Robin. You can always let us know at cinemaheroes.com. You can tweet at us or comment on our Instagram. Both handles are at cinemaheroes. You can also leave a comment on this YouTube video. And if you are watching it on YouTube, leave a hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. But I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I'm Justin Spick.
Jay Stu.
I'm Alex Thomas.
As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing.